Today was class number 21. It's my third time taking the class, and honestly, I don't have a lot to say except for the fact that reflex development makes all the freaking difference. Let me explain. Today, we practice the elbow escape from side mount, and I just worked on this last week at Gracie Huntington Beach when I had the side control reflex development class. And going through the side control reflex development class, I practiced the elbow escape. I practiced it in context. I practiced it on both sides, and I had a wonderful opportunity to work through these different issues and get familiar with the moves and get confident with the moves. So today, the class was a breeze. Obviously, being my third time taking the class, I should already know the move, but I was even more confident and even better and even more familiar because of what I did in reflex development. And so I know some people, I've talked to some people lately, especially, who are saying that they hate the idea of not sparring in Gracie University. And I get that. And reflex development is most definitely not rolling. It is not sparring. But I think it's great in that it reinforces what we need to know and what we need to retain in order to, yes, A, pass the test, and B, be able to do this on a fly, on a reflex, okay? Because there's no way that you drilling it once, 3 times on each side, you're going to believe it or retain it or understand it. You have to do it multiple times, and then you have to do it in context, which I guess is the beauty of rolling. That's the beauty of the repetition of rolling, because when you roll, you can try that move 3 and 4 and 5 and 6 times. When you roll, you can feel the difference in context. But I think rolling and intentionally drilling, like in reflex development or like positional sparring, are very different, because when you positionally spar or when you're drilling in reflex development, you're feeling resistance, you're ramping up the resistance, at least I am, to feel the difference between regular old repetitive practice and something a little more intense, a little more fight-like. And then, of course, once you get to master cycle, whatever, you can roll and see if you can pull it off in a live roll. Chances are you can't, because everything's freaking different in a live roll. But I know for a fact that I struggled with this move in live sparring. I know the move. I learned the move at my old Keep Showing Up University, but it didn't work the way that I thought it should, or the way that I think it should, or the way that it will now, because I didn't have it as part of me. I didn't drill it to the point where it became part of me. I hope that makes sense. And little details like trapping the leg. I never trapped the leg before. I didn't think to trap the leg because nobody told me to trap the leg, and I didn't repeat it and drill it and make it part of my process. And so the reflex development thing is so important, in my opinion, because it gives you context while still allowing you to get the repetition and the reflexes, in to where it becomes second nature. Because in a live roll, there's so much chaos, there's nerves, there's whatever, maybe you don't feel it, it doesn't quite add up, it doesn't feel right. But I'm appreciating it more now that I'm doing more reflex development than I was before. I think I mentioned this before, maybe I did, maybe I didn't, but at Gracie University HQ in Torrance, when you get promoted, they send you a little email. Congratulations on your 2nd stripe. Congratulations on your 3rd stripe. And each time, Hit On and Hinner have a little video message that tells you what you should look for or practice or work on this next season, you know, from stripe 3 to stripe 4. And one of the things that really surprised me when I got my 3rd stripe, I don't know, weeks ago, the email said that 3rd stripe was where most people quit, where most people fall off. And I thought, that's weird. You're so close. Why would you fall off? And it's because you've done these classes 2 or, at least twice already, and you're getting closer to the goal, but maybe you're kind of burned out. You're kind of bummed. You're kind of like not into it so much because you already learned the triangle. You already learned the elbow escape. So I didn't think anything of it at the time when I watched that video weeks ago, but now it's really kind of starting to make sense, because I'm in that same boat where I'm like, oh man, they're doing this again. I've already done that class 3 times. I've already done that class 4 times. Like, I've done the Americana class at least 4 times. So I'm like, yo, I don't want to do Americana class anymore. Yo, I don't want to do, positional control from mount again, that kind of thing. But I think the difference between me and other people who might fall off is that I have this long-term goal. I have this long-term big picture. So I'm guessing that a lot of people maybe just don't have a long-term goal, who don't have a big picture. And if nothing else, going to HQ and watching master cycle classes and knowing that I could be doing that, I could be rolling, I could be advancing, keeps me motivated. And so I recognize that doing the same thing over and over is not exciting. It's not as fun. You don't get the same adrenaline. You don't get the same, payoff that you would in a live roll or to Keep Showing Up University or a competition school. But I'm okay with it. I need 7 more reflex development classes. I need like 4 more regular classes, and then I'm all done and I can start trying to take my test. But that's not the goal necessarily. The goal is to be so stinking confident and so dialed in that I can use this and pull this out of my pocket if I needed to in a real life situation, but also that I can teach it. Yes, that's a goal, to be able to teach it. But more importantly, that when I get to the live rolls, it makes sense. Because like I said in previous videos, I was in Keep Showing Up University and people would put me in moves and tap me out in ways I didn't even know what it was. And then my instructors would say, oh, you know how to get out of that. And I was like, no, I don't. Tell me how to get out of it. I say, oh, you don't come here enough. You got to keep showing up. So that was the deal. What I'll say is, I appreciate the repetition. I appreciate the reflex development. And I think that makes it more part of my DNA. And that DNA will carry me through when I get to the live rolling. And that DNA will carry me through if I get into a real life self-defense situation. So I think that's it. Reflex development makes all the difference. But class number 21 is solid. I enjoyed it. Alex and Eddie were our instructors today. They're fantastic. So I think that's it. So if you made it this far, thank you for watching. I need you to do 3 things. I need you to stay focused, stay positive, stay vigilant. See you next time.